Hello, my dear students! Welcome back to another online math class with Teacher Ray. Before we start, please prepare the following: your textbook, your pen, and your copybook. Ready? Okay, open your book now on page 705, Lesson 12-2, entitled Make Line Plots. For this lesson, you are expected to be able to organize and display data in a line plot. Previously, in our last week's lesson, we learned the definition of the following terms: data, which is defined as collected information; line plot, a display of responses along a number line with dot or X recorded above the responses to indicate the number of times a response occurred; and outlier, which is a value that is much greater or much less than the other values in the dataset.
The essential understanding for this lesson is: line plots are one way to organize and represent numerical data. You can use a line plot to see how data are distributed. Previously, students collected measurement data, including fractional units, and created line plots to organize the data. Students also analyzed line plots and answered questions based on them. In this lesson, students use frequency tables along with line plots to organize larger sets of data than they have worked with before.
Before we start our lesson, let us unlock two more vocabulary terms that will help you to understand our today's lesson. First term is tally. Tally marks are frequencies, occurrences, or total numbers being measured for a specific category in a data set. Here is an example of a tally. Next term, frequency table. A method of organizing raw data in a compact form by displaying a series of scores in ascending or descending order, together with their frequencies, the number of times each score occurs in the respective data set. And here is an example of frequency table. So we can see the score, the tally, and the frequency.
A fifth grade class recorded the height of each student. How could you organize the data? Make a dot plot to solve this problem.
Let us answer, solve, and share. You are asked to organize the data. Make a line plot to solve this problem. So here is our data. Make sense and persevere. You can make a line plot to organize data. Show your work. Okay, let's start. So in making a line plot, first step is you have to make a number line. So here, our number line has interval of 2. So we start from 50, 52, 54, 56, 58, and 60. Don't forget to put the title of your line plot, which is the height of students in inches. Okay, let's start organizing our data. Let's start with 55. So 55 can be found between 54 and 56. Next, we have 52. Next, 50 and a half. So 50 and a half is between 50 and 51. Another 50 and a half. 55. 50 and a half again. 50. 55. 50 and a half, 55, 58 and a half, 60, 52, 50 and a half, 50 and a half, 50, 55, 55, 58 and a half, and 60. Okay, so this is how you're going to organize a data given to you using a line plot. Next, look back, generalize. How does organizing the data help you see the height that occurs most often? Explain. When values are organized in numerical order, it is easy to see which value occurs most often.
How can you use a line plot to organize and represent measurement data? Let's find out. The dogs in Paulina's pet shop have the following weights. The weights are in pounds. How can you organize this information in a line plot?
Measurement data that is organized is easier to use.
Organize the data. Write the weights from least to greatest. You can also organize the data in a frequency table. The frequency is how many times a given response occurs. What do the columns in the frequency table represent? They show the different measurement values and how often each value appears. How will this information help you make a line plot? The information in the frequency table tells you the values that need to be marked on the line and how many dots to put above each value on the line. Make a line plot. First, draw the number line using an interval of 1/4. Then, mark a dot for each value in the data set. Write a title for the line plot. What does each dot on the line represent? What do the numbers on the line represent? Each dot represents one dog, and the numbers represent the weights of the dogs in pounds. What observations can you make about the dogs in the pet shop? Their weights can be organized into two groups. 6 dogs weigh from 6 to 8½ pounds, and 6 dogs weigh from 11½ to 12¼ pounds. Now you know how to use a line plot to organize and represent measurement data.
Review the video about the essential question, how can you use a line plot to organize and represent measurement data? Always remember, class, measurement data that is organized is easier to use. How are we going to organize our data? So we can use frequency table. So a frequency table contains 3 columns. First is our data, the dog weight. We have the tally, and we have the frequency. Next is we're going to make a line plot. So I shown it earlier. First is you're going to draw a number line using an interval. It depends on the given numbers. And then you're going to mark a dot for each value in the data set. And then don't forget to write a title of your line plot.
Which weight occurs most often? Which weight occurs least often? How can you tell from the line plot?
Let's answer convince me. The weight with the most dots occurs most often is 12¼ pounds. And the weights with the most fewest dots occurs most often are 7¼ pounds and 11½ pounds. Alright, let's move on to page 707. Let us answer guided practice. Number 1. In the line plot of dog weights on the previous page, what does each dot represent? Each dot represents the weight of one dog. Next, number 2. In a line plot, how do you determine the values to show on the number line? The number line must include the least and greatest values in the dataset. Number 3. Draw a line plot to represent the data. So again, in drawing the line plot, first, draw a number line. And then, let's have our intervals. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then, let's represent our data. We have 3.5. So, we have 2 frequencies. 5 1/4, 3. Next, 7 pounds is 4, 2, 3, 4. 8.5 is 1. So here is our line plot representing the given data. Alright, it's now time for your independent practice and problem-solving task. Please solve and answer. Independent practice item numbers 4 to 7, page 707. And problem-solving item numbers 10, 13, page 708, and item numbers 3, 4, and 7 on page 710. We will check your answers in my next video. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye.